o'clock, and it is time for Prime News. We're live from Studio A at Fengudron Bange in the country's economic capital. My name is Gienda PELDRINE Blanche King. To begin the news this evening, the head of state, His Excellency President Paul Biya, has suspended the tax on imported telephones and handsets, asking for a more suitable mechanism for the recovery of the said tax and custom duties by concerned authorities. This information is contained in a document signed by the Secretary General at the Presidency. Eileen Sama sampled the opinions of some denizens around Douala concerning the postponement of the said tax. Her report.
Secretary General at the Presidency, Ferdinand Gongo, at the instruction of President Paul Biya, tabled a document to the Secretary General at the Prime Minister's office on Monday, October 19, 2020, requesting the postponement of the implementation of the digital collection of customs duties and taxes on imported telephones and handsets. According to the document, the head of state is expecting a more appropriate mechanism for collecting the said custom duties and other related taxes. Let's now take a listen to some Douala city dwellers on the new move taken by President Paul Biya concerning the phone tax.
When I got the news, I was very happy, because when I buy my phone, normally I used to put my credit. I will work with internet daily. When you transfer credit, we use either MCN, Orange, or Nestle Network. And meanwhile, they are paying taxes. I myself also buy credit from them. So when I heard the news, I was very excited. Because just imagine, if I'm having 50,000 francs to buy a phone, the taxes were 33.5%. I'll obviously buy around 80,000 francs. Meanwhile, it is not normal for a Cameroonian.
Le seul problème par rapport à cela, nous on doit attendre combien de temps? On est tellement fatigué. Parce que quand lui, il y a des problèmes, il reste calme dans son coin et après il sort, il dit qu'on attend. On va attendre jusqu'à quand? Donc c'est ça le problème. Et nous on en a marre. Les Camerounais en souffrent trop. Parce que tu t'imagines, nous on a des problèmes, il ne réagit jamais.
Moi je trouve ça injuste. Parce que le Cameroun a d'abord trop de problèmes. Moi, je ne peux pas avoir... Tu peux avoir peut-être tes 35 000 pour payer le téléphone. En plus, on te demande de payer les taxes. Quand les taxes qu'on te demande là, c'est pour faire quoi? Au Cameroun, d'abord, il n'y a même pas l'argent. Tout ça, on ne parvient pas à manger. Toutes les taxes là, ça sort d'où? La décision qu'il a prise, c'est juste même. C'est très bon.
President Biya's suspension of the phone tax is a huge relief for the consumer associations, the common man, and the political class of the opposition who criticize in worse terms the phone tax contained in Cameroon's finance law for the 2019 financial year, stipulating a custom tax assessed at 33.05% of the purchase price of phones, tablets, and other moderns.
As the African Union's 2020 theme, silencing the gun is fast approaching end of term, pressure has been mounted on the government of Cameroon to release all those arrested in connection to the Anglophone crisis and via political views. Human Rights Watch has also called on several international bodies to intervene. Darling Gandhi in the following report.
Since the introduction of multipartism in Cameroon, the country has witnessed a column of diverse political parties. Although hanging under the umbrella of one nation, differences in political decisions and preferences is what makes Cameroon democratic. However, over the years, the longevity in power by the ruling party has led to several demonstrations and sometimes even street protests, leading to the arrest and detention of some opposite political views, with the most recent being the September 22 protests, which led to the detention of over 200 supporters of the strong opposition party of Professor Maurice Kamto, the Cameroon Renaissance Movement, as affirmed by the party. This is just but the springboard for which resonates the call for their release. In a recent press by the Human Rights Watch, the African Union, the African Commission on Human and People's Rights, the Economic Community of Central African States, other regional and international partners to Cameroon have been urged to publicly denounce the crackdown on Cameroon's political opposition and also to prompt the release of all those detained for varying political views. In addition, the Human Rights Watch says these groups should press the Cameroonian government to hold account those responsible for violations of the rights to assembly, to liberty, and to freedom from inhuman and degrading treatment. Ilaria Allegrozi is the senior Central African researcher at the Human Rights Watch, focusing primarily on Cameroon, who says African and regional bodies should call out Cameroon's government for its repression and rampant abuses, especially given that the end of the AU's 2020 theme, silencing the gun, is fast approaching. She further said it's crucial for these institutions to send strong messages to President Paul Biya's administration that flagrant violations of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights and other human rights treaties are unacceptable. Meanwhile, in a statement released last week, the spokesman of the Cameroonian government, René Emmanuel Sadi, however, denied allegations of human rights violation and said the law is gradually taking its course and all those who are not guilty of any wrongdoing will be released.
Some structures in Bepanda and Bonaprizo neighborhoods in Douala 4 and 5 municipalities constructed on plots classified as risk zones and on gutters have been demolished. The buildings were demolished yesterday by some elements of the Mobile Intervention Unit. Audrey Zatsa reports.
This demolition operation in Bepanda and in Bonaprizo at the Génie Militaire was headed by the Deputy Mayor of Douala 5, accompanied by the Mobile Intervention Unit. In Bepanda, the inhabitants watching what is left of their houses, with some picking up remains from their property. The reason advanced by the authority is the common scenario of floods each time there is heavy downpour as a result of drainage path, which has been reduced to almost non-existence as people have constructed on gutters, hence causing floods. In Bonaprizo, precisely at Bonobo Génie Militaire, here on this spot was a 3-level story building still under construction, now reduced to dust. Authorities says the area has been classified as a risky zone for construction. The proprietor had, however, allegedly received a warning note to stop construction but went ahead with the construction. In a bid to bail inhabitants from the degrading conditions, the Douala City Council has urged inhabitants to adhere to the decision.
And over to the northwest region of the country, Minister of Local Development and Decentralization George Elanga Obam held a working visit to the northwest region ahead of the upcoming December 2020 elections. The minister visited some structures to host the Regional Assembly Independent Consolidator and the House of Chiefs. He also held a closed-door meeting with the 34 mayors and administrative authorities of the northwest region. Charles Keba reports from Bamenda.
Minister of Local Development and Decentralization George Olanga Obam held a working visit to the northwest region this Tuesday, October 20, 2020. The minister's visit was to acquaint himself with situations faced by the local authorities of the 34 councils in the northwest region and administrative authorities, as he listened to them in a closed indoor camera session on the situation faced by the local authorities in enhancing the decentralization process in the northwest. Welcomed by the mayor for the Bamenda City Council, Achombong Tembengpo, who disclosed the difficulties they've been going through, Minister George Olanga Obama also visited some structures to host the upcoming Regional Assembly, the Independent Consolidator, and the House of Chiefs in the northwest region. The minister's visit is prelude to upcoming elections come December 2020.
Today's World Statistics Day, a United Nations commemoration which is celebrated after every 5 years. The first commemoration or celebration took place in 2010, second 2015, and the third this year, October 2020. This is to keep check in line with the progress of countries and the Millennium Development Goals. This year's edition comes at a time when the world is battling with a health crisis and there is a need for consciousness and social awareness. Details in the following report. Connecting the world with data we can trust is the theme of this year's World Statistics Day. The theme reflects the importance of trust, authoritative data, innovation, and the public good in statistical systems. The celebrations of World Statistics Day 2020 is a global collaborative endeavor organized under the guidance of the United Nations Statistical Commission. One of the reasons why the day was adopted was to provide timely statistics and indicators of a country's progress for policy decisions and monitoring implementation of Millennium Development Goals.
I wish everyone around the world a data-rich World Statistics Day. Statistics are fundamental for evidence-based policymaking. Current, reliable, timely, and trusted data help us to understand the changing world in which we live and to drive the transformations that are needed, leaving no one behind. The coronavirus pandemic has further elevated the importance of data to save lives and recover better. Our recently launched Data Strategy for Action by Everyone, Everywhere is an agenda for data-driven efforts to provide greater insight, impact, and integrity as we strive to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. This day is an opportunity to recognize the statisticians worldwide who work to provide reliable data, adhere to the fundamental principles of official statistics, and build more resilient and insightful data ecosystems. On World Statistics Day, let us commit to invest in and support the vital role of data in meeting the challenges of our time.
World Statistics Day comes after every 5 years, with the first ever celebration in 2010, the second in 2015, and the third in 2020. And today on our world page, we'll be talking about osteoporosis. It is a term used to describe weak and brittle bones. This occurs when the body loses too much bone, making it become too little, weak, and may subsequently break or fall. The bones help regulate fat, store minerals like calcium and magnesium, as well as help keep or give the body its shape. Around the globe, an estimated 200 million people are sufferers of the disease, with symptoms such as stooped posture, loss of height over time, among others. Some sufferers have no symptoms at all except they have a bone fracture. And it should equally be noted that the disease is a growing global health problem, affecting 1 in 3 women and 1 in 5 men over the ages of 50 globally. The disease can also have a serious life-changing impact in the life of sufferers in terms of pain, disability, and independence. And away from health, Gladys Bomotongina compared some news-making events in the African continent. She reports in the French language.
Alors que la Guinée est dans l'attente des résultats, le leader de l'UFDG, principal parti d'opposition, M. Cellou Dalein Diallo, s'autoproclame vainqueur de la présidentielle, et ceci dès le premier tour du scrutin. En effet, l'ex-gouverneur de la Banque centrale guinéenne et ancien Premier ministre perd toute patience face au président sortant Alpha Condé. Il ne manque pas d'ailleurs de dénoncer des fraudes dans cette élection. Restons toujours en politique en Côte d'Ivoire, les tensions continuent toujours de monter à quelques jours des élections. Après les violences ethniques observées vendredi dernier à Bangouanou, place aux affrontements lundi entre les jeunes étudiants et les forces de l'ordre au quartier de Rivera 2. Ces derniers protestent contre des frais annexes scolaires universitaires et refusent l'idée d'un 3e mandat pour le président Alassane Ouattara. Une centaine de prisonniers en fuite ce mardi 20 octobre 2020 à la prison de Béni en République démocratique du Congo suite à une attaque qui, selon certaines autorités, serait l'œuvre des éléments du mouvement ADF. Le maire de la ville déclare qu'il s'agit d'une opération menée en 2 temps, soit un premier par la déstabilisation des gardes autour de la prison, puis un second par l'attaque du complexe carcéral. Les causes restent encore inconnues. Au Mali, voilà 15 jours de cela que les habitants de Farabou sont encerclés par des combattants se présentant comme des djihadistes et refusant tout accès au village. Ceux-ci accuseraient certains habitants Bambara de Farabou d'avoir tué plusieurs membres de la communauté Peul.
We talk sports. Clubs in the Southwest region have started preparations ahead of the upcoming football season. Over the weekend, Limba-based Option Sports Academy defeated Elite 2 side of Kribi in the electrifying friendly game staged in Kribi. Sportsman Fabrice Keninga was part of this match. He watched This match and compiled the following sports package.
South Elite 2 side, Ofta of Kribi, suffered a vexing 0-1 loss in the hands of ambitious Limbe-based regional league side Option Sports Academy on Sunday, October 18, 2020. It was a game full of talking points following some electrifying moments from both sides. Playing at the Kribi Municipal Stadium in Afangmabe, the home side resisted the visitors during the first 10 minutes of the cracker, but the academicians found the back of the net 20 minutes into the game thanks to a fine Peter Paul strike which handed the visitors the lead. After of Kribi would then fight hard to restore parity, but the resilient Option Sports side waved away all threats from their opponents as the first half ended 1-0 in favor of the amateur side. The second half of the game was more entertaining and exciting, with the crowd trooping into the stadium when news of a high-profile friendly game holding in Kribi swept across the city. In this half, both sides made series of changes. The high point of this friendly game was when Ofta supporters were already jubilating following a move in the camp of the visitors which left an empty pole, but still the ball hit the crossbar to deny the home side the equalizer at the end of additional time.
It's ended out here at the start. They are Famabe in Kribi Option Sports Academy of Limbe. They are continuing creating history on their own. They have defeated Ofta of Kribi by 1-0.
These humiliating results for Ofta in their backyard provoked an atmosphere of tension and frustration among fans, players as well as supporters. Earlier on, a selection of Ofta players vying to be integrated in the first team came from behind to pick a narrow 2-1 win over Team B of Option Sport Academy of Limbe. Meantime, the return leg fixture is expected in the coming days in Limbe, while Option Sport Academy will next host Young Sport Academy of Bamenda at the Ngeme Annex Stadium in Limbe prior to the commencement of the new football season in the Southwest region expected on the 7th of November 2020.
Thanks, sportsman Fabrice Keninga, for the sports package. The news was produced by EWANE Ally NOLINGA, coordinated by Faith Tataberenyu. Thanks for being a part of today's edition of Prime News on My Media Prime. Join us tomorrow, God willing, at 6:30 for another edition of Prime News on My Media Prime. My name is Gienda BLANCHE King. Until we meet again tomorrow, stay tuned. Stay tuned on My Media Prime for more interesting programs at 7 p.m. Cameroon time. Kim Leonard and his panelists will be here to talk about important issues affecting the world, Africa and Cameroon. Enjoy in company of good programs on the African Eye. Good night.